Hey Pop Punk fans!
James from Midwest Guys.
Kyle from Midwest Skies.
David from Midwest Guys in Grand Rapids, Michigan. The Ernie Ball Vans Warped Tour Battle of the Bands is back, and we need your help to get involved.
If you want to see Midwest Guys take the stage with some of your favorite bands, tap the link in our bio, create a free account, and vote for the music video for our song, Come Back For Me.
You can vote once a day, so be sure to check back in every 24 hours to keep up the momentum.
We are so lucky to get to play music to crowds all over Michigan on a consistent basis, and with your help, we can take it to the next level.
Again, tap the link in our bio and vote for Midwest Guys.
Midwest Skies.
Midwest Guys to be a part of the 2025 Vans Warped Tour. Thank you very much, and we'll see you soon. Hello, and welcome to the A.D.H.Deep-Dive, the show that's not about ADHD, but is filled with proof it exists. My name is David J Mund. I am joined on camera by John Kelley, Gustavo Mund.
You're leaving me.
Come
on, Judah.
Judah Mund. We are here on location. I am currently house sitting for a friend of the show, Emma Sheridan. Her big fella Timber just came up and is popping in screen. A studio apartment with 2 grown men and 3 dogs, and it doesn't feel that crammed, to be honest with you.
No, it's really nice.
Emma's got a nice space here. We recorded one podcast from her kitchen. We were cooking on...
What were we cooking?
Pasta. It was called Anxious Dogs. I don't remember what episode it was, but we were talking about our dog's anxiety. Before we started rolling, John and I were talking about tattoos and how I regret every single one of them. And if I could, I would go back in time to get rid of all my tattoos. And you said you might never get a tattoo. Is that true?
Yeah. What I was going to say is there's just not a single tattoo that I can think of that 5 years from then or from now that I wouldn't regret. I don't know. Like there's like some like symbolic tattoos, but yeah, every tattoo I was like, 5 years ago, I still didn't want a tattoo. But even then I was like, but if I did, maybe this. And then I'm glad I didn't get that.
What is the closest you've come to getting a tattoo?
Never.
Like there's never been any single... I know you've never like made the appointment or anything like that. But
no, I've never had any sort of drive to get a tattoo. I've never had one singular idea.
Ooh, stinky dogs.
The only thing I can think of is like if someone that was super close to me, like a parent or whatnot, passed away, I might do something, or maybe like, our dog passes away, like maybe that, but like that would be about it.
I don't know. This isn't the point of this. I don't know if you and your wife ever intend on having kids, but would you be one of those dads who got a tattoo of their kids' names or anything like that? Good for you.
No.
I got my first tattoo at 17 years old, and it was this.
Do you have to be 16 or 18? For tattoos. I
think you might actually have to be 17, but you can get them at 16 with parental consent.
Got it.
I could be wrong about that. I don't know. I also got them my first one in Cadillac, where you think they're following those fucking rules. No. Which, here, before we do that, what are we sipping on today? We
are sipping on...
Is it Tenjaku?
Actually, yeah, Tenjaku Japanese whiskey, and is actually crafted into an old-fashioned by... David Mund.
One David J Mund.
Cheers.
Hey, cheers. Not bad.
Hold on, wait.
Oh, yeah. Hey, ready? That is a man who listens exclusively to the audio version and cares about what the audio listeners hear.
Yeah, David's like, how should we get this set up? I'm like, people actually watch. It really... I only listen to this in the car on Spotify exclusively.
Which, for what it's worth, even though that is when you listen to it, Spotify is like... last time you were on, we talked 2025 predictions. My 2026 prediction is that Spotify becomes a serious contender for the stake that YouTube currently claims, because they are leaning into video content of any capacity. So you're going to start seeing music videos on Spotify. Already there's video versions of podcasts on Spotify. You get short form content in there. It's possible. Although YouTube is a free contender.
I'm gonna challenge you and say 2026 prediction. YouTube because YouTube with YouTube Premium also comes with YouTube Music, whatnot. Would I ever listen to YouTube Music? I have YouTube Premium.
Okay.
Because I hate ads.
Okay, so that's your
and I only watch
benefit?
your videos, and I never watch any of the ads.
Okay, that's fair.
No, but no, I don't know if I would ever actually use YouTube Music. But with that being said,
can you actually break that down for me? Because
YouTube Music is just Spotify on YouTube.
As a separate app? Or is it
I don't know,
within
I
the
don't use
YouTube
it.
app? Oh, you don't have it. Okay, right.
No, but part of Spotify Premium is like YouTube, music's included, no ads,
Okay.
whatnot. I will say music streaming obviously sticks with Spotify.
Definitely.
I see a larger fan base and a larger presence of podcast listening on YouTube versus Spotify.
Currently, because the video versions are on YouTube.
Correct. And
Or is that your prediction?
that's my prediction, but also kind of there's a couple podcasts that I do listen to that
On YouTube?
on Spotify, but then
Okay.
I'll listen or then I'll go to YouTube because in the spot or in the podcast they're like, hey, like they're talking about products, but then they're putting the products like up on screen, like in
Right.
an actual video.
Right.
So then I'll double back and just like see in the video where it was.
Timber.
And these things have like 500,000 views on just
Sure.
YouTube.
Come on, Jude.
So
Come on. There we go.
don't
Gang's
know.
all here.
I don't know. I think YouTube is just too big to fail at this point. I don't see Spotify getting a piece of that pie.
Now, this might phase into some of that. I am sorry in advance. Her
That's
breath
fine.
stanks, and
That's
now
fine.
your right thumb is about to stank. But look how
How's it
far
smell,
we've
Joe?
look how far we've. He won't even do it. Look how far we've come. Judah used to be. John has known Judah most of her life.
Yeah.
And Judah, close that mouth. No, if you're gonna breathe through your mouth, you're gonna get down. This is where I get distracted because holy shit, she's got a stinky face. Actually, I might just get you down now because you can't go to your fan. Quick temporary timeout. Actually, we've got the wireless microphone, so I don't even need to pause. On the YouTube conversation, you say that YouTube is too big to fail. Mm-hmm. Not only do I disagree strongly, because of all the tech companies that you can think of, all of them, what is the biggest one that up until now you would have said, there's no way that crumbles? Because if you don't have an answer, I just...
Go ahead and I'll think.
Google. Google it might still hold the largest share of tech dominance.
Okay.
Google's primary thing, of course, is like ad revenue and all that, and it's like compatibility with all the other apps and all the other producers and creators and whatever. But the search engine itself is like the heart of what Google is. It's become its own phrase. I'm going to look something up. Google is the knowledge of human information.
Yep.
ChatGPT is about to destroy it. Because what happened with Google Gemini is, even if you don't use the Gemini feature itself, when you search something, automatically it gives you the AI overview of all of the information. And no longer, you can still, of course, click the links and the tabs that it tries to get you to different websites that have the information to the answer that you're asking. But it tries to get you that faster by giving you the AI overview, which sucks.
Which is fair, but I will say Google is far bigger than people realize. Like, for
No
example,
question, it's still massive.
well, for example, when you think of phones, you have iOS, Android.
Right. And Google.
Android is a Google product.
That is actually news to me.
Yes. So every company has like their flavor. Like Samsung utilizes Android and the Google Pixel phones utilize Android, but the central, it's kind of like this open source thing, but at the end of the day, its roots tie back to Google.
Okay.
So Google, like half of the phones are iPhones, the other half are Google.
Sure. So, I got a dog hair on my face. I think what I more mean about the too big to fail thing is that search engine itself.
Right.
That the search engine of Google may become irrelevant soon because of apps like ChatGPT. Judah, go lay down, you stinky
you're good.
face. But in the same way, and I guess we can keep it on the Google thing for a second, but I think YouTube will always exist. I don't think that it's too big to fail, though, necessarily for the stake that it claims. streaming, video services, etc., creators may start moving to Spotify if it exponentially grows in this way.
Yeah, but I would also see them just they're just posting like 2 different places now, kind of like you do.
Oh, that's what I'm doing.
Yeah. And what I'll say about YouTube is like, a trend that I see is that any sort of influencer, if you want to call it that, or content creator that makes it big on other platforms, Instagram, TikTok, or Vine, back when Vine was a thing,
RIP.
A lot of people who make it big on one platform want to try and take that career and cater it to an actual YouTube career.
Sure.
Because, like, I mean, 1 million views on YouTube is better than, like,
now we're not
50
talking
million on, like, TikTok.
But we're not talking shorts.
Not talking short. Well,
right.
I mean,
short form
YouTube
TikTok.
Shorts.
Right. Well, short form TikTok creators try to have a long form career on YouTube.
All I'm saying is that I feel like YouTube is kind of the end all be all goal for creators if they want to have a legitimate, like, big career. Like, I would say a mid-tier YouTube channel that's still getting a lot of views and ad revenue and whatnot is usually better off than some of, like, the higher tier, like, Instagram accounts.
I agree.
Yeah.
As a person who has, I literally, the other day, I was going through with Emma and showing her some of my vlogs from high school, because those all still exist. When at the time, it was like, I'm going to be a YouTuber. That's what I'm going to be. When being a YouTuber was just vlogs. I mean, there was obviously way more than that. There was different types of content creators, but vlogging was a, like, not for me, a lame high schooler, but was a career path for content creators.
Yep.
I still have not caught up with the short form content. I'm not great at short form content. My short form content is snippets of my long form content.
Yeah.
But in the reverse order, like, a short form creator moving over to long form content isn't as, I don't think, as
seamless
easy.
as a long form going short form.
Exactly,
Yeah.
which is why I think that Spotify might have a place. Because if you're, and maybe you're right, maybe it's just a competitor. Maybe it's just like they post in both places at once.
It's a separate branch of the same tree.
Right, but as Spotify starts getting all these exclusivity deals where, like, you can only watch this on Spotify, it makes it more likely that they have a possible path to overtake the long form content game.
Right.
YouTube could just become another competitor to Instagram and TikTok.
Yeah. And that is a long-winded way of saying that I just don't think I'll get a tattoo.
Okay, the quick, I don't need to necessarily show all of them, but the quick tattoo tour about my regret is it started with this cross when I identified as a Christian, which contains the name of the 2 people in school or the 2 people that died that I went to school with. I wasn't even really friends with them. It was like, I should do this because, to be honest, because clout. I'm gonna have a tattoo before other people, and I'm gonna make everybody like it because what's more badass than a cross with 2 dead guys' names in it? I got that when I was 17. For your eyes, it's not even a straight line. It goes up and then over.
Yeah.
There's a big space between the A and the L, which I know to the audio listeners, this isn't super relevant. The main thing is, it's right on my wrist.
It's front and center.
If I shake your hand, it's going to be the first thing you see.
Yeah.
Then on my left hand,
Other front and center.
Yeah, other front and center. It was a tattoo that I didn't even ask for. The guy was like, he started taking creative liberties to the image that I gave him, which already is like, what are you doing?
Right.
What are you doing? And then in the middle of it, I can't stop. Then I've got space all over the place. For what it's worth, this is maybe a moment of vulnerability. The tattoo on my neck, which people compliment the most.
It's also the one they probably see.
Definitely. Judah, I need you to, okay, you're just going to lay like that. Is a UFO abducting a guy, and there's a little alien inside of the spaceship. The alien looks like plankton, which I don't love. Also,
Crabs.
I think you know this. The person who did it is the person that my ex cheated on me with. So he's like embedded into my skin. So, ladies and gentlemen, don't get tattoos. Like, it seems cool at first, and then it wears off.
Well, I'll say too, there are tattoos that people have got where they're like, I still love this tattoo. And those are usually the more meaningful ones. The trend that I see is like around tattoo number 3 for people is like, first one is like, you put all this thought into it. It's your very first one. It's the symbolic thing. The second one, kind of so-so.
Keep the ball rolling. Yep.
Everything for the most part from like 3 after is like, yo, that would be cool. And then
that's exactly what it is.
Yep.
Which is the thing that I regret the most. Now, I will say, the third tattoo I have is the one that means the most to me, but it's still lame. It's a tattoo. It's got all of my siblings' names on it. It's on my left leg, but it's inside a dream catcher, which is just the basic white bitch tattoo. Like, and if you are listening, you have a dream catcher, I'm sorry, you're a basic white girl. As am I. And then I've just got a handful of other space tattoos. They're all on my leg, but every single piece that I have is so big and so front and center. And like, I wish I would have gotten smaller tattoos. I wish I would have gotten no tattoos at all, because relevant to this Neil Patrick Harris thing that I did recently, I had to cover it up. I had to take my piercings out. I had to cover up the tattoo. Mm-hmm. And that, as a person who yes, I want to be a musician, and yes, I want to be a director, and yes, I want to be a podcaster and a YouTuber and all this kind of stuff. The thing I wanted to be most was an actor. And that really sort of limits.
Yeah.
Unless you're like, now there's a career, you can have it, tattoo makeup is a thing.
Yep.
It's a lot of work. And it has hindered that pursuit a little bit. So don't get a tattoo.
Travis Barkered yourself.
Dude, and that was sort of the motivation. I was like, I'm going to be a drummer who's covered in tattoos.
Well, do you know he has more tattoos than I realized? Ed Sheeran.
Yeah, he's like covered.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like shirt off, he's like full top to bottom,
yep.
like covered.
But neck up?
Yep.
No.
Hands free.
Yep. You can wear long sleeves. See, that is the things I regret the most, is the neck tattoo that's front and center. I actually do like my piercing. It bums me out that my eyebrow piercing fell out of my face.
I will say, when you first got your neck tattoo, the first time I saw it, I was like, that's cool. That's a choice.
That is a choice. It was right. It might have been. It was before the vaccines, but towards the end of the initial shock of COVID. I think it might have been like November or December. No, it might have been September or October. I know it was October of 2021. Because it was right before all of the cheating thing had gone down. So it was like that initial, like, with who? The guy who tattooed my body? Whose artwork is on my neck? Which, yeah, it was a choice. I will say, of all the body modifications I've ever gotten, though, the eyebrow piercing, I loved that one. I loved it, but my body rejected it. And now there's like a little scar, which, whatever. But it would have made it difficult for the acting career. Anyways, to go back to something we were talking about in sort of the AI world, because that's something that you and I talk about a lot. And I might actually pivot this back to aliens in a bit, because I don't think you and I have ever talked about aliens.
I don't think so. Well, on the podcast.
Yeah.
Anyways.
To be honest with you, I'm really glad that we found a 20 minutes of conversation between AI, or between tattoos and Google and YouTube and the competitiveness of YouTube and Spotify. But before the podcast started, we had nothing. I told John, I want you to do the show.
Yeah, I walked in here today. I'm like, what do you have? And you're like, not much. I'm like, oh, sick. I don't have anything.
Which is why I wanted you on the podcast, is because when I have nothing to talk about, I was like, we'll find it. But the one thing...
Yeah, he always brings in his ringer when there's nothing to do.
I actually, before we get to that topic, John and I were messaging back and forth, and he had brought up a topic that I will talk about in just a second here. But sort of the comedy in it was that John was going to take over the podcast, and it's hello, welcome to the A.D.H.Deep-Dive, the show that's not about ADHD, but is filled with proof it exists. I'm your host, John Kelley, with my guest, the former host of the A.D.H.Deep-Dive, David J Mund. All we really have beforehand was Siri and its failures in the Apple Intelligence world. You want to?
Which I will say this really quick. So,
She's listening.
So, which I will say this. This will be my third podcast. Fourth. I feel like every time I came on here, we talk about AI.
Definitely. That's why.
But I will preface to any listener that's like, oh, AI again.
It's the future.
No, we're just talking about how much Siri
Sucks.
on the phone sucks. Tune in.
Yes.
It drives me insane.
And she's going to listen every time we say
I'm going to
that.
take my phone out too. I'm going to put it right over here and I'm going to watch it trigger this whole.
Yep.
But maybe it won't.
Maybe
it won't.
So the initial pitch, which first of all, I'm not really a tech guy. I am tech adjacent. I think we both have the newest iPhone 16.
Correct.
Do you have the Plus or Max or whatever it's called?
The big one.
Yeah. I do not, but
Yeah.
I think the only difference is storage, right?
Yeah, basically.
Okay. Something that sort of pisses me right off is that the whole plug for this was Apple Intelligence. It's coming. You need to have the newest phone because it's going to catch up. The camera capabilities, which actually are genuinely somewhat incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm very impressed by the camera. But it was like, Apple Intelligence is coming. Here we go. Do you see that they're releasing the SE or whatever? That's like...
The 16E.
Yes. Which is half the price, created specifically for Apple Intelligence compatibility with the same camera processing. The only thing is storage. The only difference is
There's
storage.
actually a lot of differences.
Okay, you want to dish on that?
So the 16E, I don't know who in their right mind would buy it. So
Really?
Because
I'm salty about it.
So it doesn't have MagSafe.
Which I don't even know what that is.
It's like the magnets on the back for mounting or charging.
Oh, okay.
Has only like a one lens camera. Has
I fundamentally misunderstood the specs on this.
has similar like specs, which is fine. But the only issue is that for all of these drawbacks, the SE phones were always like $399, like, or maybe like $450. That was their price. This one is $599
Wait, is there always an SE for all the...
for the most part.
Oh.
There was like 3 generations of SE, and this is technically the next SE. They've just rebranded to E.
Which, just as a quick disclaimer, my relationship to iPhones are like every 4 or 5 generations I get a new one. My first iPhone was the iPhone either 4 or 6, and then it was the 12. And then I had the 12 until the 16 came out.
Yeah, I've had the 4, 6S, the X when it first came out.
The X, that was such a big deal.
I had the 13 and then now the 16. And the only reason for the most recent upgrade is it just happened to work out that way through like Verizon trade-in.
So you're
for,
Verizon?
Like, yeah, Verizon. Okay. But otherwise I would have just kept my 13 if that wouldn't have worked out.
Yeah.
So, but I want to pivot this back really quick. So ultimately, the 16E, the reason I said I don't know who's buying this is because for like $150 more, you can actually just get a base model 16.
It's only $750?
Yeah.
Oh.
But the other thing too is that a 15 Pro Max, which it doesn't have the AI features that we're about to talk about.
That we're about to say isn't even worth it?
But for the same price, you can get a 15 Pro Max, new still, they're just discounted, higher refresh rate screen, 3 cameras, MagSafe, better screen.
What was that upgrade, by the way? Because for layman's, which I include myself, the frame rate on the screen increased, which was sort of like the coolest thing to see when you see anybody else's phone, because they're showing you something and you're like, it's a pretty
So
fast frame
this
rate.
is a hill that I personally will die on. So David over here is saying that, you know, he's not a tech, he's a tech adjacent, but not tech.
Yeah.
I live in tech.
Correct.
So essentially when you look at a screen and you move something back and forth and it's either super smooth or if it's like little like jump, like back and forth.
Which is a frame rate thing. For
that
I do understand.
That is the refresh rate of a screen. Okay. So like when I pick up someone else's phone that isn't the high refresh rate,
it is noticeable.
It's noticeable. It's fine, but I can definitely tell like, oh, okay, But for me, it's like, do I think Apple in 2025, Apple should be charging, I don't know, $800 for a phone, like a base model phone without that, considering the competition? No.
Sure.
Am I going to spend the extra money to get that if I'm going to have this phone for like 4 years? Yeah.
Yeah.
So
it is worth the purchase, but not all it's cracked up to be.
I can give or take expenditures in technology here and there, but the one single device you're going to use every day, all day, is your phone.
Right.
Buy what you need.
Right. Well, and if we're just talking, and again, we're going to get into the Apple intelligence of it all, but if you're just buying based on like the most, you got a dog hair on there?
Yep.
If you're just buying based on, to be frank, the frame rate of your screen swiping, it's not.
No, Apple, you're paying, when it comes to phones, Apple, you're paying the ultimate premium, which is ironically the opposite that I would say for their MacBooks.
Interesting, which I have no experience with. I mean, I have experience with Final Cut as a Mac product, but I don't, MacBooks and...
Apple's MacBook Air lineup and their Mac Mini, which is their mini desktop, in my opinion, is the absolute pinnacle of price to performance that you could buy even for like Windows-based computers.
That's what you just got, right? You just got...
Yeah, for a Mini, yeah. Which is like wild to say because Apple has never been the cost-effective route.
Right.
So, back to Siri, and I want to scale this conversation back to how this all started.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is not a punk house, it's a punk home. You can find this banner and others like it, as well as this silly goose on the loose hat, these etched mirrors, these custom charm bracelets, and so much more by heading to Cat and Crew, that's KATANDCREW.com, and entering the promo code Monday, that's MUNDAY, for 10% off your first purchase. Katie and Andrew, one of the first supporters of this show, have made a 10% discount available for A.D.H.Deep-Dive listeners. See store for details, of course, but they've got so many cool punk home products, decor. You don't have to be a punk, that's okay, that's all right. Tattoos for your home, koozies, wall banners, a hot sauce. Oh my God, keep your eyes peeled for that. So again, if you want this is not a punk house, this is a punk home banner. If you want this silly goose on a loose hat, if you want etched mirrors, if you want custom charm bracelets, so much more, go to Cat and Crew, KATANDCREW.com, enter the promo code Monday, that's MUNDAY, for 10% off your first purchase. Thank you very much to Katie and Andrew for sponsoring the show. Let's get back to the podcast.
Because you and I had complaints before Apple AI, Apple Intelligence ever came to be, and that was just Siri, and it was just talk to text.
Okay, yes, let's hone in on
and
this.
I want a disclaimer too, throughout this podcast, the rest of it, if we say, hey, S, what we mean to say is, hey, Siri. And I'm not trying to activate anyone's phones as
I don't
they're
think
listening.
we can, right?
If you have a podcast on and they say like, okay, Google, it'll actually...
Right.
Yeah, so...
I know it does for Alex.
Yeah. So I'll say this. If you hear us say, hey, S, know what we're trying to say, hey, Siri, and it's going to, there it
exactly
goes.
That.
So,
but what mine does is I don't even need to say, hey. I just go, Siri. Oh, all right. Well, that didn't work. Never mind. Usually mine ends up getting triggered when I'm talking about it. And when I'm talking about it, it's that it sucks.
Yep.
That is the topic of conversation.
So, okay. Talk to text.
The worst. Now,
it used to be great.
Okay, yes.
It used to be great.
Talk to text used to be. Now, one of the things that I think I understand about Apple products is that they have the marketing down right, but they're always late to the game.
Yep.
Like anytime, like when swipe texting started, I was so hyped on that. Android users were like, bro, we've had that for like 2 years.
Apple is good about not having their users be beta testers.
Right.
So
that's good.
So Apple will be a year or two behind the ball where everyone's like, oh, you're just getting that? We've had that for years. It's like, but when yours came out on your Samsung or on your Google, it was kind of dog shit.
Right.
And now it's better.
Right.
But when Apple was like, all right, now we're ready, they release it and it just works.
Which talk to text was.
Yep.
Talk to text was genuinely, now, contrary to your Gen X or boomer parent or grandparent who is talking to their phone out in the middle of the Walmart, like, that's
And I'll say this quick. My pet peeve back when there was wired headphones that had like the mic that like dangled
The trucker
right here.
headphone, yeah,
Yep. Were people that would have their headphones in, their microphone on the heads, like the wired heads, but then still would hold their phone up here. Be like, what are you doing?
Well, same thing you'll still see with people with Bluetooth headphones. Like, people are still doing that.
Yeah,
I think
I'll have
it's
my
just-
AirPods in and be like, yo, what's up?
Which, for what it's worth, now, apologies to the audio listeners, that I'm going to do something that might mess with you a little bit. Also, I just realized I'm showing a bit of cleavage with this deep V.
Whoa.
You will see many, many creators who now have this exact microphone holding it like this. Holding it as if it is an actual handheld microphone.
Yep.
It's a lav microphone. Put it on your goddamn chest.
You might even pick up too much if you hold it.
Correct, it does. And then they don't dial the audio back. I actually see somebody, there's a few creators now who wear snapbacks or hats who clip it to the top of their hat.
What was that?
Which is actually deeply, deeply frustrating as a whatever, let's call myself, dare I say the word, a filmmaker who doesn't make films. As a wannabe filmmaker, you're pointing the microphone away.
Yeah.
If you have it on your hat, you're pointing it away from you.
Yep. All right.
needs to-
Hey,
Talk to text.
talk to text.
Yes.
I know it's about ADHD. I'm going to keep us on topic.
Okay, but quick, one more divergence. I had the flu 3 months ago. It was over within 3 weeks. I still have a residual cough.
Okay.
There's a new bioweapon out. All right? I'm just saying. Anyways, continue. Influenza A, my ass.
No, so randomly one day, I'm using talk to text, which had always worked fine.
Hang on. There's a specific update. I can't remember the exact
Yep.
update, but there's a specific update that it went, oh, this is different now.
Well, so I'd always use talk to text. Typically, I'd have like my AirPods in and be like, saying words on screen. I hit send, good. And then an update comes out, and it's just horrible.
It's so bad.
It's cutting out in the middle.
Oh, I can't wait to test this. Go ahead.
It's cutting out in the middle of what I'm saying. Like, if I'm doing talk to text, it's because I'm not looking at my screen.
Are you holding your phone? Because I've actually noticed something.
No. So I will have it down, but then I'll be in the middle of like saying like 2 paragraphs worth of stuff, and I'll look down on my phone, and it just stopped itself after the
halfway
first
through.
sentence.
Which there might even be a text on my phone the day that started to happen from John saying, have you noticed that talk to text ignores half of your paragraph?
I was like, have you noticed talk to text is just shit?
Yeah.
Because it'll also too it'd be like, hey, I'm on my way. And then talk to text would be like,
Way.
hey, you're gay. I'm like, that's not what I said.
Or it just catches the one word.
Yep.
Like, yeah. But anyways,
So I text David. I'm like, hey, have you noticed this has kind of got terrible? And you text me and you're like, I was just talking to someone about this.
Yes, I was
I cannot believe you're texting
in that
me.
moment, I was literally, I cannot
Literally
remember
prior
who
to
it was.
that moment, we had never talked about this.
Correct. I genuinely don't remember who it was, but I was just like talking to someone specifically less than 5 minutes before John texted. I might have even been on the phone with them saying, hey, sorry, I'm in a place where I can't like physically text you and use my hands. So I've got my Bluetooth headphones in because I need to tell you that talk to text isn't working. So it's worth it for me to call you.
Yep.
I don't understand what's happening. And then John's text came in saying like, have you noticed that? I'm like, dude, yes, I've been freaking out about this. So I felt very seen in that moment.
Yeah, so it got bad. Every update since, it's been getting better,
But
which is ironic because it's only getting better, but it's still not as good as
Correct.
it just used to.
It is yes, it went from a 10 to a 5, now it's back at an 8.
Yeah.
But on that note, I've noticed something physical happens is if you have screen rotation on, if I'm holding my phone like this and I turn, if the phone rotates, it stops listening.
Yep.
And then when I turn it back. So if I say, hello, John, how's it going? I'm blah, blah, blah. Then I turn my screen and then I say, I'm at Walmart. Where are you? I've used Walmart as an analogy 3 times in this show. I don't know why. And then I rotate it back. It misses everything that it said while my phone was horizontal, but it only catches what it says when it's vertical. I don't understand. And we're not even into the Apple intelligence of it all yet.
Well, so that kind of sparked this whole thing. Because then it was like, okay, well, talk to text sucks. And then...
And we're gonna get into how the AI summary of texts is shit. We're getting there. Because it's worse.
Yeah. Have you actually experienced that yet? Is the actual summary?
Yeah, it's terrible.
Sweet.
It's terrible.
So, okay.
We're gonna test it live on the air.
So talk to text is not great. And then Apple announces like, hey, we're announcing our own AI. And but Apple will never call it AI.
It's Apple Intelligence.
It's Apple Intelligence.
Right.
Which like
not artificial intelligence.
Or like recognized game.
Sure.
If you guys were able to get that brand deal out of AI, cool. So yeah, Apple announces all these new features on their phone soon. They announced that like these features are
Apple Intelligence
coming, yes, but they're not out.
Which, do you remember the marketing tool for that? Because I literally was like, the iPhone 12 Pro is going to be the only phone I have until it physically cannot run anymore. Mm-hmm. And then I dropped it and cracked the camera lens. So I was like,
well, they kind of
physically can't. Right. So I wasn't even paying attention to marketing because I was like, I will ride this till it dies.
So the marketing was like, AI as far as like features that you're used to with like ChatGPT, Copilot, Gemini, like those are going to be baked in. Mm-hmm. You're going to have all these like photo taking, editing, generating AI. You're going to have all of this stuff. Mm-hmm. And then, but they said, buy the 16 phone, because it's going to be the only iPhone at this moment in time capable of Apple Intelligence moving forward. But now we're probably like...
Came out less than a year ago.
Well, we're probably 6 months away from the next iPhone at this point.
Well, not including the E.
It's still a 16. It's a 16E.
Are you saying that's the one that's coming out? Or is the E out?
No, like we're 6 months away from the 17 at this point. Oh,
God.
And they still haven't really released anything.
Flashback to the we don't let our users
be beta testers.
Yeah.
So once, iOS 18 came out, which was their proposed software update that's going to start having all these features, I started testing it with just stuff with how I would use Siri normally, but now I'm using Siri for hopefully...
She's listening. Look at that.
So one of the very first things I did was, hey, S, find me David's address that he texted to me about a week ago.
Oh, okay.
Siri then says, do you want to create a contact?
Interesting.
No, I don't.
My phone started listening when John said the word.
Yep.
So it used to be, like, the whole reason when you set up S is you test it to your voice in the way that you say things in a particular way with a particular inflection. It's picking up John's voice.
Yep. You. All right, you say it.
Siri.
Say hey.
Now, again, I didn't say hey. Mine's listening.
You say hey now.
Hey, Siri. Here, let me say it in my John voice. Hey, Siri. All right, she's not listening.
Hey, Siri.
Mine is listening. What the hell?
Anyways.
But this is all part of the grander point, is that it sucks. Continue.
So it came out, and I started testing, and I tried to do a couple things. It was like, hey, S, find me that address. Didn't work. Mm-hmm. Hey, and I'll just start asking it questions, because I'd be like driving, and just be like, thought comes in my head like, hey, S, why is this way? Or this like this? Expecting to get some form of actual like ChatGPT summary response, but it would be like, oh, pulling up the web pages pertaining to what you're asking for. And I'm like, that's not what I want. I want to know. I just want to know the answer to the question that I'm asking for. I can Google it myself.
Right.
So that was a whole thing. I'm trying to remember what I even did. Oh yeah, I was telling you when I got here, me being a tech person, all of their Apple, so, like in computers, you have like Intel as a processor, like they're really big. So Apple now has their own chips that they make themselves.
Right.
And it's their M series processors. They have them in the phones, the iPad, or sorry, they have them in the MacBooks, the iPads, even like their Vision OS, the goggles, they have it. And I was like, why don't they just put those in the phones? Hey, S, why doesn't Apple put M series processors in their phones? Thinking that I'm asking Siri a question about their own product.
Right. Which
and
you
then
would think
Siri
it's
was
internal knowledge would
right.
know.
And then Siri was like, well, fuck off. All right.
Dude, right?
So, and then...
Which, again, John's fuck off was the fact that it's listening.
Yeah. So then it was like, well, here's all those web pages pertaining to your question. I'm like, I just want to know the answer. Imagine going to ChatGPT, which, by the way, was an announced feature.
Okay. Well,
so
was it announced?
It was announced that it was like Siri will be tied in with ChatGPT.
Oh, was she not?
I know. So Siri will be tied in with ChatGPT. So when you ask Siri a question, it'll give you like a ChatGPT answer.
Is it its own?
It is baked in.
Or ChatGPT. Now, because you texted me the other day, I thought you were saying all of a sudden ChatGPT is now equipped. Or was that just in an update?
It is a feature I had to toggle, but now that it's on, it is a 50-50 if it actually does that or not.
But anyways, quick flash forward to what we might talk about in a second. Are you familiar with the OpenAI thing?
Yeah.
Okay, we might talk about that, but go ahead.
But no, so I was getting frustrated because imagine going to ChatGPT and you're actually like asking it a question, and all ChatGPT does is say,
"Here's some web.
Yeah, here's some links." Which is just no different than Google.
Google's original. Before the Google AI, before the Google Gemini, you would go, you would scroll. I don't need to explain Google to you, but for what it's worth, you would ask it a question, you would look for a resource, it would give you the resources, it would cite its sources, it would pull up the web links of the things that contain the information that you're looking for. The whole benefit of AI is that it simplifies that, and you don't need to click the links, which I think from a consumer point of view, from a creator or a whatever, as a person who runs a website, that sucks, is that it gives you an overview and then you don't need to visit my website, but whatever. Yeah. For the intelligence of it all, that's the point.
Here it is. Use ChatGPT is enabled.
Yes.
Which it also enables and ties to S. So
do you need the app to have that?
No.
Because I have the app, but I don't have that enabled.
So there is a 50-50 shot now where if I ask S a question, it'll actually give me what I'm looking for in its long form, like, well, the reason for this is because of this. And because of that, this like an actual like generated, like accurate prompted response. And that's all I'm wanting.
Right.
But then the other half the time, even sometimes for the most basic questions, it's like, nah, here's a link.
Right.
Drives me up a fucking wall.
Right. So the overall question that we've talked about on the podcast, I say we, but me with multiple guests at this point, is AI a net benefit or net negative, net positive or net negative to society? That is totally subjective. It really depends on your overall view of everything.
Also depends on the industry.
Right, totally. The issue is it's hard to answer that question when now I understand we're in the early days of peak AI. It will only exponentially grow from here. But when we're in this weird period of time where it's not as good as it could be, but we know what the promises of AI are, and we know nearly the almost certainties of what it will become. Right now in this period of time, it's like, yeah, it could be great, but because of its success rate, it makes me worry for like, if the future models are trained off of the failures of this model, if not enough people are talking about the failures of this model, the creators of the industry or of the product will think that it's doing just great.
Well,
then it will be an exponential defect.
Well, part of the issue is that a lot of the information given from AI is just not accurate.
Correct.
You'd ask it a question, it just gives you a totally wrong answer, which they have coined hallucinations.
Right, which is really weird to think
And then
of.
you ask it for its source, like, oh, well, where did you get that information? And it'll just give you a link to a non-existent website. It just made it up.
Right.
So
That's freaky.
But the issue though is, and I don't know, you are back into Facebook, right? Like you have a Facebook again. You didn't for a while.
I don't scroll Facebook, but I post.
You are lucky. So Facebook.
Well, no, I know that it is no longer a linear timeline. It is suggested timeline. At
Almost
this point.
all of the posts that I see
Are things that you don't
in my
follow.
feed are not posts from people I follow.
Right, or even pages you follow.
Right.
It's all suggested content.
And I would go as far to say is at least half of it at this point is some sort of AI generated photo or video.
Yeah.
And it's always some fucking grandma that is celebrating her 180th birthday.
Yeah.
But she didn't have anyone to celebrate with. So drop a like or a follow so she can feel some love.
Which is
like, but then all the comments are either the dumbest people or
bots.
So
do you know
and
the
then it's
dead
the
internet
theory of dead internet. Yeah.
That scares me more than anything.
Yep.
Is that the internet used to be a place for humans to connect on the World Wide Web, right? The source of the internet was like we say www, which we don't even anymore. Www, which we don't even say anymore. It's just
https://www.
Right.
That's what we say.
Well, not even that. It's now just the app.
Yeah.
Are you on the app Facebook? Are you on where it used to be? Are you on Facebook.com?
Or I mean, like, even it's just like, are you on Etsy?
Right.
Like, it's just the
Right.
website.
The dead internet theory, for those who don't know, and for some reason, I'm going to start this over because I think that this is the clip. The dead internet theory is the theory that posts are now generated by AI or by bots. Comments are generated by bots. The dead internet theory, or the dead internet, is bots interacting with bots, and we as humans are just observing it happen in real time.
Yep.
Which leads me to that clip of Gibberlink. Have you seen that?
I don't know if I've seen that.
It is an AI assistant
Oh.
speaking to an AI
Yep.
assistant. The second AI assistant says,
Are you?
"Oh, that's crazy. We're both AI assistants. Would you like to speak in Gibberlink to speed this process up?" Which becomes an auditory processing
which
of
then turns
binary
into
code.
this. So I'm now the computer.
Right.
David's the computer. And it's like, hey, do you want to talk in Gibberlink? Doop, doop, dee, doop, beep, doop, doop, doop.
Done. It's done. It is an auditory processing of binary code. The dead internet is here. There's no real, like, maybe there's some grave walkers. There are some dead man walking humans observing this happening. Yes, there are humans interacting with humans on the internet. But I'd be curious on your take on the percentage. It is likely at this point that 50%, I'm willing to go to 50%, of all content you see is at least sparked by AI. So whether that's, okay, Judah, there comes the stinky breath, gotta get my dog down. Whether it's content created by bots, comments created by bots, or both, at least 50% of the things you physically see on the internet are bots, or AI generated content.
I would agree. And
That's
I would also
freaky.
and I would also go as far to say that, I would go as far to say that a quarter to a third of just accounts on the platform in general are AI. Now, granted, it typically how social media goes is like a third of the accounts are doing like 80 to 90% of the posting.
Correct. Humans.
Yeah.
Yeah, before the dead internet possibility, it's the same thing. It's just like the wealth gap. Most of the top creators, as well as in capitalism, most of the top earners are earning most of the income or creating most of the content.
Yep.
Sorry, did I interrupt your point here?
No, and it's just like, what are we doing? Like, I mean, and then like Zuck turned off fact checking.
Which I have complex feelings on that.
Well, so I'll say this: fact checking got turned off with the expectation and communication that community notes are now going to be the thing. So Facebook,
Which is pulled directly from X.
Well, so Facebook's version of AI will essentially summarize the comments that are happening under the posts. So at the very top, it'll say like, viewers are saying, like, referencing this. So,
or if it says, okay, like, let's just say I posted a clip of John saying something. It'll give you 4 suggestions. One of the suggestions will be, okay, there's a clip of John talking about dogs. The 4 suggestions are, sup dog? There are 4 suggestions. One is, tap here to learn more about dogs.
Yep.
Suggestion 2, hear more from John Kelley. Suggestion 3, what users are saying about dogs and John Kelley. You sort of get the point. The community notes are an AI summary of the thing that John was talking about, but not notes from users.
Well, one thing I've also noticed too is that, so they have switched from fact checking, which I've turned off, to community notes. And half the time the community notes aren't even there.
Well, and they're not the community.
Right.
They're the AI
it's
overview.
bot posted content with bot comments with a bot AI.
Correct.
Summarizing all of the stuff.
The dead internet.
It
Whew.
just makes me not. I will say that's why I do appreciate Instagram more.
Yes. I'm glad to hear you say that.
Because I can follow the people I want to follow, and if I look at my feed,
Well,
it's for the most part,
it's who you're following.
Yeah.
Until it tells you you've seen everything from everyone you follow.
I will say I have yet to get hit with the flood of AI videos or pictures or whatnot on Instagram.
But, well, go ahead,
Well,
finish that, because I've got a butt to that.
Well, it's not even a but as much, because a lot of the stuff is just like, I see the people I follow for the most part, the stories that those actual people are posting, and then just like absolute garbage funny Instagram.
So
reels.
that's the thing. Is on the rest of the social media apps, it's dead internet.
Yeah.
On Instagram, it's everything I want to see, and then deeply mentally unwell people who shouldn't have access to social media.
Yeah. Mia the other night was watching something.
John's wife. Yeah.
And I remember turning to her because she had her sound on, and I'm like, what the hell are you watching? And she's cracking up. She's like, I have no idea, but this is so stupid.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I can't judge, because then I turned my phone towards her, and it was just a can of beans on a wall, and the dude's like, look at these beans. So I'm like,
but that's what I mean.
Mine's not much better.
It's either robots interacting with robots or mentally unwell people interacting with mentally unwell people, and then a small percentage of that is humans in the comments going, what is going on?
Yep. Well, really quick.
We took a quick pause.
We're back, but before we start, we did swap.
We did swap. We're sipping a long drink now.
Cheers, and then
Cheers.
crack by the mic.
Yeah,
That was perfectly in sync.
That was. We've also swapped dogs. Gus and Judah have moved. Timber is now in place, which I think I said at the start. I'm house and dog sitting for Emma. Emma Sheridan. Firefly Tapestry. Storytelling. We took a quick break, which this is going to be relevant as we work our way towards the end. A, to use the bathroom, B, to grab these drinks. But Emma in her bathroom has a Squatty Potty, but it's not the Squatty Potty brand. This is not super relevant. It's more of just a...
ironic it happened.
Yeah, a commentary on how AI is failing us, especially in the AI search engine world. It's not even super relevant. The Squatty Potty that she has in a different brand is like a hard to pronounce word. And so I was like, I get stuck on it like a fucking verbal stim. Sometimes I'm like, how do you say this word?
Which, for those wondering, the word is Beinilai.
Which I...
Beinilai.
Benilai. And so sometimes I see that and I'm like, how do you say that? So I asked John his opinion. I'm like, how do you say this? How would you say this? And he's like, hang on, let's check it out. And so he took a picture of it, reverse image searched the word to use the AI summary of how it's pronounced. The result was, I cannot do this.
Yeah, I can't do that.
Yeah. Which, I've talked about this, I think I just talked about this on the last episode with Spencer Ziegler. Google, new iPhones, I don't know where I put my phone, whatever, it's not super relevant. Actually, it is relevant, but wireless microphone, I can just use this. It now has the ability, you have a button on the side that pulls up your camera, which used to be you swipe and then you push the button on your screen. But you have a button on the side that pulls up your camera, which now if you hold it, pulls up the Apple Intelligence camera. So it tells you what you're looking at. When I point it at my Dachshund Corgi mix, it tells me that it is a sheepdog. So it's like, already, this is the promise of AI, is incorrect information and these hallucinations that we've already said. Okay, so now we're gonna test the AI summary. So what Apple does is, again, the promise a little bit, as I sip my long drink, sugar-free long drink.
Cheers.
Cheers. Have you had the sugar-free long drink yet?
I have.
Okay, it's my favorite one. They've got new sugar-free flavors now.
I generally can't tell that much of a difference between the sugar-free and the normal.
That's why I
wish, and maybe they do, the sugar-free cranberry.
They now have, I can actually pull it up right this moment, because somebody just texted me this, Katie Scavo of Cat and Crew. If this takes longer than 5 seconds, I'm going to give up. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Why don't you use Siri?
I give up. All right. Let's see. Hey Siri, what flavors of sugar-free long drink exist?
Here's a link, bitch.
I can use ChatGPT to answer that.
Enable.
Okay, try ChatGPT. Next, enable ChatGPT. Working with ChatGPT, let's see what she says, or he says. I pictured Siri as a woman, ChatGPT as a man. Sugar-free long drinks come in various flavors, including classic options like cola, lemon lime, and orange, as well as more unique choices as peach, raspberry, and tropical fruit brands.
I've heard none of these.
I don't believe brands like Zevia offer flavors like black cherry, ginger root. Oh, and now she closed out. Okay, great. I wasn't finished reading, so that's
I'm
fine.
Googling long drink
Sugar-free.
cola.
But I don't think that's sugar-free.
No, it said flavors like cola.
But it said sugar-free long drink.
I'm just looking for a long drink cola, period.
That
and
might
the
exist.
answer is no. There is no long drink cola flavor.
We just experienced a ChatGPT hallucination in real time. Listen, we're obviously having fun. We're playing with it here. The overall point that I think I've expressed a few times on the show at this point is that, is it a useless tool? No.
No.
It serves some purpose for creative endeavors. If you're looking for inspiration, not verbatim copy text or copy paste text, it actually helps a lot.
Mm-hmm.
There's a script that I'm working on right now where I needed to know the weight of something, which actually, now that I think about it, this could be entirely wrong. Okay, I'm actually just going to say, basically, I was looking for how much would it have cost in the 80s to fill 1 million balloons with helium. And I'll explain to you why. Okay. But it calculated the cost of balloons. It calculated the weight of helium necessary. It calculated the cost of helium tanks back in the day and said, given inflation, it would cost X, whatever, X. I just ran with that, hoping that it would be true and that the viewers of the thing that I'm making won't care.
I will say I used it recently too. Because I was like, hey, I need to figure out a compliance related thing. What do I need, or what needs to be checked off to be compliant? Now it spit out a list. I didn't believe it.
Sure.
But it did give me the link. Because
it's like cited its sources?
Well, because I was like, for the life of me, and trying to Google this question, I cannot find an answer. Mm-hmm. So it gave me a link, and I'm like, well, it's going to be a dead link. And I click on it. It brought me legitimately to the answer I actually needed.
Oh, sweet.
I don't know in what archive this link was hidden in, but boy, did it actually find it. And it was actually accurate.
Yeah.
And then the list it spit out for me was actually real.
But
it
can't get the flavors of sugar-free long drink correct.
But then but still it would give me an answer, and all I had to do was just research the answer, which is like better than nothing, but I also couldn't just take it at face value.
Right. Which at that point, if you are double checking the AI,
it was my last resort.
The AI,
essentially,
or the double check.
No, the AI, because I was like, I'm gonna find this. Shit, I'm striking out. I can't find this. It gives me an answer. I don't even know if I can believe that, and it just worked out. How many times have you done that though, where it's like that's not real? It actually wasn't right.
So, what I think would be a fun exercise to round this podcast out is I could. Well, there's a few different ways that we could do this. One, I'm going to send a lengthy text to John, a long text to John, and then we're going to see what the Apple Intelligence summary is of the text. Because when you text someone more than, let's say, 10 words that can't come up in the preview of an iMessage, it summarizes the text. Now, what I could do, we could do one of two things. Either we could dead internet theory this thing, and I could ask ChatGPT for a long text about a particular subject that I could then send to you, and we see if it summarizes it. Or I could talk to text this image.
Actually, I have a text from you. A text that you sent me.
Okay, can you read the text verbatim first? Well, it can't be read.
I'll read it out loud. What you
The text I sent.
This is a text that David sent to me on Saturday, January 11th at 11:25 a.m.
Now, this is before we did the... No, this is right after we did the...
He said to me, I was headed to the store the other day and I accidentally ran into a woman with my shopping cart.
Ha.
We got into a whole fight about it and she told me that I shouldn't even be here in the first place. I called her an old bitch and she called me a bald asshole. We both got kicked out of the store, and by the end of the day,
Wait a minute.
I was reminiscent about it. I thought maybe I really was the asshole. So I found her online and gave her a call and apologized, and she came over and we made sweet love.
Hold on. Wait a minute. I have no... What is happening? Hold on. To the audio listeners... Wait, what is this?
This was back when I was testing AI summary with you and I asked you to send me a text to summarize.
Okay. I had, for a second, so much just happened in my brain for a second. Because I gaslit myself into believing I remembered the thing you were telling me about. Yes. Okay.
Midway through me reading that, you started laughing, and then I watched you get more and more confused as I read that.
So... What's funny is I do remember that message was inspired by
And you know what
reality.
didn't happen?
Any of that.
Siri summarizing it.
That's true. Oh, yours is listening though.
No.
It just did for a second. So, okay, yes. Just to be clear, none of that. Hold on. I need to talk to you about something.
Oh no, what?
Okay, we're going to come back to this, but as a quick disclaimer, everything that John just said that I
is
said
100% real.
No, none of that happened. We were testing this theory.
Yes.
We were testing the AI summary theory. So I texted John that to see what it said. But for a quick second, yes, hallucination or whatever, I gaslit myself into believing that what I texted John just then happened. I'm really excited to watch the video version of this to see my face go, wait, what? Okay. I've had 3 different people reach out to me about the last episode that you did.
Oh no.
And all of them agreed that what you did to me is really fucked up.
I know what you're talking about.
Do you actually not?
I know.
In the last episode, John said...
Yeah, it's not my fault you
along
smell.
Something along the lines of prediction.
My 2025
We were talking about
prediction.
2025 predictions. That David will finally... come to learn, something along the lines of that David will finally come to learn that he smells and that everyone has been keeping it a secret from him. And in that moment, I got so self-conscious because, and I don't remember if we talked about this on the show, I grew up in a household full of hotboxing cigarettes, and I was the kid that smelled like cigarettes. And I spiraled about that for a little bit.
I even said in it too that like, we will end this podcast and David will think it's a ha-ha joke. But then he'll ask someone,
yes.
Do I smell? And they'll say, of course not.
And then
he does actually smell and everyone still knows.
I had 3 different people tell me like, that was really funny what he did, but I would have spiraled if I were you. And I did. Okay, so yes, to re-summarize what we were about to do to close out the episode, I'm going to... Should we dead internet theory or talk to text it? It's an audio podcast, so I should probably talk to text.
I'm the guest. You lead.
Okay. I'm going to talk to text a message to John, which we will then see how AI summarizes it. And I'm just going to, as an exercise in improv, we're going to do this right now. Okay. I was walking down the street the other day. Actually, before I say this, just for everything you're about to hear, as soon as I say
Is 100% real.
is talk to text. Okay, I have pushed the button. I was walking down the street the other day when I saw someone who looked a lot like you, period. I went up to say hello to them, and they smacked my hand away as I went to shake their hand, period. I got a little bit alarmed because I thought maybe you might be mad at me, comma, because I was absolutely certain that it was you, period. As they started to rage at the possibility of touching my hand, comma, they told me I smelled really bad, and they would never allow such a dirty, stinky human being to come in such physical proximity to them, period. They then shapeshifted into an alien and beamed up into the sky from the mothership, ... For what it's worth, ... The mothership looks like the really shitty tattoo on my neck, comma, tattooed on my skin by my ex's lover, period. All right, that's the text. It reads...
I'm happy you're finally admitting this.
It reads... Let's see if I got it right. I was walking down the street the other day when I saw someone who looked a lot like you. I went up to say hello to them, and they smacked my hand away as I went to shake their hand. I got a little bit alarmed because I thought maybe you might be mad at me, because I was absolutely certain that it was you. As they started to rage at the possibility of touching my hand, they told me I smelled really bad, and they would never allow such a dirty, stinky human being to come in such physical proximity to them. They then shapeshifted into an alien and beamed up into the sky from the mothership, ... For what it's worth, ... The mothership looked like the really shitty tattoo on my neck, tattooed on my skin by my ex's lover. It got it right. Talk to text
It
is
only
almost
took
back to normal.
a year and a half.
6 updates? 6 iOS updates?
6 iOS updates in a year and a half for that to finally... All right, send it.
I'm going to hit send, and we're going to see what the AI summary is.
And I have my sound on, which I normally don't.
Which it didn't
make a sound.
Okay, what is the AI summary?
It's just the whole ass message.
Well, that was a big waste of time.
So I clicked it.
You're just going to say summarize this
Well, I'm
for me?
going to... Mark is in red. Yeah, it doesn't even give me...
Okay, now... Okay, here's what we're going to do. Because that was sort of a waste of time because it didn't summarize the text, which it usually does. I would like you to copy the text, put it into the Siri Apple Intelligence, and say, summarize this message in 10 to 15 words. Because that's usually what Apple Intelligence does. It summarizes the message.
Paste. Fuck off.
Yeah, this is going to be a tough one. The fact that it didn't summarize that to begin with is sort of the point. The fact that it's unreliable, and you shouldn't trust AI 100%. Just like you shouldn't trust the closest people
I'm saying
to you.
summarize the above text in one sentence.
Yes.
Sorry, I don't understand.
All right, we're going to put it into ChatGPT. Jesus Christ. Apple Intelligence has failed us. I understand that this is the beta test, but like we talked about, we should not be beta tested. Are you putting it into ChatGPT?
I got it right here.
Okay.
ChatGOT.
ChatGiat.
Summarize the following text in, there's a lot of text, 2 sentences.
But usually it only puts it in 1.
I don't know, we're going to paste it.
All right, what's ChatGPT say?
The narrator mistakes someone for a familiar person and attempts to greet them, only to be rejected for smelling bad. It is confirmed that they do in fact smell bad, and everyone is afraid to tell them.
Shut up!
No, I was kidding.
Okay, what's it say?
The situation escalates from the individual, or when the individual transforms into an alien and leaves the mothership, resembling a bad tattoo in the narrator's neck.
That is way better than Apple Intelligence could ever give us.
That's the thing. Here's the issue: is that was from ChatGPT,
right?
But ChatGPT is integrated with Siri,
right?
So why the fuck couldn't it just say that?
Right.
Drives me up a wall.
This is the Dead Internet podcast, which actually is not a bad idea for
Boy, we're already here.
Yes.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Okay, and with that, that has been the podcast. Great episode. Honestly, for two people who had no idea what they were going to talk about going into today, other than the last 15 minutes that we actually did.
And the fact that we could keep talking.
That's good. It's like we're friends and we have a lot to share and express with each other.
And I have a parting note for this podcast.
Okay. Can you please tell them I don't stink?
The entire podcast, David has been like, Judah, your breath smells. Get off. It is actually Ben David. It is actually Ben David. He's just trying to look for outs here.
No! You know how people like become famous for things they didn't mean to become famous for?
A.D.H. deeply smelling like shit.
This is the A.D.H. dumpster dive with David J Mund. Okay. Do you have anything to fucking plug?
No.
Anything you're excited about? You're going to go see Linkin Park this month, right?
Is it this month?
Is it?
I can't be this month.
It's either this month or May. I remember it being an M.
I think it's May. I'm seeing Linkin Park May 1st.
May 1st. All right.
And I'm seeing System of a Down in August.
But it's not with Surge anymore. Or is this the last tour with Surge?
I don't know, but he's back.
What?
Boy, we're so back.
Wow.
We're so back.
Fuck AI. System of a Down is back. All right. This has been the A.D.H. Deep Dive with David J Mund. The Japanese bourbon got me all fucked up 15 minutes into this episode, so I don't know what we've talked about, to be honest with you.
And Dave's gonna go take a shower.
I'm gonna take a shower, and it's still apparently not gonna work, because I shower every day, and yet, somehow, I still stink. Please
check out r/bald to see David's trending post as part of my 2025 predictions.
Hey, the other day, some information came out
Oh no.
about the Costco family being a plant. I don't know if you believe in CIA plants to dumb down society.
We're already there.
That's true. The goal of big tech, big government is to dumb down its society, and that occasionally there will be industry plants to allow that to happen, to push a particular narrative and whatever. But there's a conspiracy theory out right now that the Costco family was a CIA plant. This leads into our past prediction that by June, what did we say, 3rd?
I don't know, but it's in June.
By June, the Rizzler is going to be in handcuffs. So keep an eye out for that. Check out John at John Does Drones on Instagram. Please, I am literally begging you, vote for Midwest Skies for the Ernie Ball Vans Warped Tour 2025 resurgence, the 30th anniversary of the Warped Tour. We have a handful of shows coming up. We are playing in Bay City on April 4th with Bring Your Best. We are playing at the Pyramid Scheme in Grand Rapids with Keep Flying and Save Ferris. And then May 30th, we'll be at Turnstiles with Beach Glass and formerly known as the Melissa Dillon Band, now called Smile Darling, I think. Don't make that face.
He's looking at me for support. I'm like,
Anyways, okay. I thought you were like, ew, what a name. Spay and neuter your pets. Please, in the comments, tell me I don't stink. I love you. John, great episode. What were you going to say?
Hey, to the Rizzler.
To the Rizzler. We'll see you next time.